Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Goon Squad, Black Thor, Icewater, and yours truly, Puma. The champ is here once again. Icewater wins the NFL picks. You earned it. It was close, but you earned it.
You know what, man? All I must just say is it was very close. And it was hard. It was very close. So it's one of them things when you think about it to the point you go, ladies and gentlemen, for the 1,000 watching across the world and after 18 weeks of intense thinking, let's go to the scorecards. Participant Puma finished in fourth. Participant Pop finished in third. Black Thor came in second. And Commissioner Puma declared the bout a unanimous decision. All behind the winner and new champion of the first 40 NFL picks for 21-22. Icewater, water, 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 water.
Of course, you're going to pull out your ice water. There you go. There he is.
Don't look like water to me.
Whatever it is.
Good water, baby. Good water, Alabama.
Black Thor, I gotta give you a shout out. I gotta give you a shout out, man, because you remained close, and it was 2 missteps. Or 3 missteps. I know it was the one that me and you got burnt on, the Arizona game with AJ Green. You picking Detroit and Thanksgiving. And then I text you over the weekend. I'm like, bro, how did you pick Atlanta?
You know, the Atlanta pick to me was a pick where New Orleans, their offense is not really generating anything. So I figured maybe Atlanta at home, they'll stand up. I don't know, maybe to me that they need to move their team or do something because that franchise seems like it just can't get out of its own way. But it was a good season, man. Real good season. It made the picks interesting. And I'm not saying this because I came in second, but it was one of those seasons, man. You really, like I said, you had to really think because the parity made it tough, man. Some games you just thought for sure you're going to lock down and win, and you're checking the score. You're like, what the? And it was just that it was that way all season, bro.
Yeah.
All season. I mean, some games that the same week you speak of Thanksgiving, Detroit lose. Next week they go out, blow out somebody. It's like, what's going on? So it's like every weekend it was totally different, which was fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, we always have fun doing that. I always enjoy it. I didn't get to speak to Pop today, but I'm sure he enjoyed it too, even though he came in third. I always enjoy it. I always enjoy the banner. And you both are right. You didn't know from week to week that sometimes we had good weeks, we had bad weeks. But despite all that, man, our percentages were higher than a lot of other folks that were picking. So if you all are here with us, stay with us next year. I think last year, for years, we've had the highest percentage of wins picking all the games, including Fox, CBS Sports, all that stuff. So take heed to that. Let's do a summary of week 18. I'm going to go to Ice first, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. What were some of the games that stood out to you on week 18?
Well, you know, when you look at it too, you just think about the Bengals. I still thought the Bengals would win that game versus the Browns, despite, you know, with everybody being out. But the Browns showed you with their quarterback is like, you know what? Maybe even though they might make a decision to keep Mayfield, that the backup quarterback was like, look, I can win some games, man. I can just win some games. And it just seems to flow a lot easier, right? They lost a lot of people on either sitting out or, you know, with COVID or whatever. And it's just like, they just seem like they were moving forward. And I said, man, this is crazy. I'm gonna just say this. I could go into a lot of different ways, but this is the one thing that really got to me was San Diego Chargers coach, man, for real. For real. And I know, here's what I'm gonna say to you. I'm watching the game and I'm like, okay, and they're going down. It's clear that the Raiders are going for a tie, right? They're going for a tie. And they're like, afterwards, Carr, no, we want to win. We're real men and we're trying to win and we don't want to tie anything. And they're going for the tie. Nobody's calling timeout. They're running the ball. I said, if the Raiders wanted to win, they would pass the ball to keep moving forward to get closer to the field goal. So it's like time rolling down, getting down to the last 30 seconds or whatever. And the Chargers coach calls a timeout. And I'm like, he just killed them.
38 seconds left.
He just killed them. I'm like, if you didn't call timeout, they were going to say, let it run out. And we both, here's the thing. If they tie, they both go to the playoffs. So why would you want to win? I know you call that quitting or whatever. Why would you win the game so Pittsburgh can go to the damn playoffs? I'm serious, man. Seriously, think about that. Why would okay, we both trying to win. Pittsburgh been around forever. Everybody know what's going on with their with their franchise. We're just gonna run. It's one of those silent gentleman agreements, right? You can say what you want to afterwards. But if I'm telling you, I would stake $1,000 if I could run back and see it. If nobody called timeout, the Raiders were content and letting the damn clock run out. And we both go. So what? But no, the Chargers coach says, well, I called timeout because I thought we could stop them from getting close to the field goal. No, you didn't, because the dude ended up getting the first down anyway. Come on, man. Sometimes you just got to think. I'm just going like, damn, that was stupid. And maybe they would have done something differently. But I wouldn't we keep looking at the clock. It's going down. Keep going down. And they ran the ball again. I was like, just play along. But that was really sad, man. I was sitting there going like, psh. And everybody's like, we're trying to win. Dude, anyway, certain things, and when you watch football, you just shake your head and say, I don't understand it. And that was one of them.
Well, Black, I was sitting there watching the game, and I kind of liked the Raiders kind of getting in the playoffs. And I didn't want it to end in a tie, but it looked like they were trying to go for the tie on that. Another overtime game was San Francisco and the Rams. People are picking the Rams to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think so. I really don't think so. There was another overtime game with Pittsburgh and Baltimore. It seemed like Pittsburgh is in it. And I was listening to Ben in his press conference today, and he was like, you know what? Since we're here, we're going to have some fun. So they're playing with house money at this particular point. And that's a dangerous team to be playing with house money, even though they're going up against Kansas City.
I don't know how much house money they got, bro. Whatever it is. It ain't going to be enough this weekend against the Chiefs at home, bro. I mean, realistically, they should be happy to be there. By luck, they got there. I thought Raiders played a very good game. I agree with Ice. I think the coach even said it after the game. The interim coach, to me, the Raiders should hire him, because if he can get that team that close to the playoffs, even beyond that game, everything he's been through this year, amazing job, man. Amazing job. That team is talented as well. But he said in the press conference, he was going to run the ball and they was going to probably just let the time run out. But when they took the time out, him and his coaches rethought it over. They came up with a different plan. And like I said, they're running the ball. And on third down, you allow them to get 10 yards on you running the ball, 10, 12 yards? Bro, yeah. That's like, I don't understand it. But sometimes y'all think yourself in a sense, you're a little too smart. I agree with the Rams. I don't think the Rams is all that talent they have. I don't think they're much better. I mean, this guy throws interceptions at key moments. He messes up at key moments. And everybody keeps patting him on the back, Stafford. Keep patting him on the back. Keep patting him on the back. They might get past this weekend, but I don't see them going that far. But I was impressed with the 49ers, bro. I was thoroughly impressed with 49ers because they were left for dead. They stood up for the first time to me the whole entire season. I know they won some games, but the way Jimmy Garoppolo, I have never seen Jimmy Garoppolo play that type of game, bro. In the second half, he was slinging that ball. I hate to kind of compare it to this, but there was a time, it was a short window when Eli played. I don't even remember when that first Super Bowl Eli won, he went on the road. And he went on the road, he went down to the Green Bay, and Eli and Tampa Bay, if I'm not mistaken, those 3 games, Eli slung it like there was somebody else wearing his uniform.
Yeah.
Same thing with Garoppolo that afternoon, the third and fourth quarter. He threw that ball like someone else was wearing his uniform, bro. It wasn't him. Now, if he could bring that to the Cowboys this weekend, they're going to be in good shape. But I don't see the Rams. I just don't see the Rams basically kind of getting me. I don't understand it because they make a lot of mistakes throughout the way. And that team is too talented on both sides of the field. Good receivers, I should say, good defense, but they keep finding themselves in situations where games get away from them. And I think sometimes this coach is overrated. It's drastically overrated. And I'm not saying this to take a swipe at the Cowboys fans, I'm not much of a Cowboys fan lover, but to run the score up on a team that's not playing 19 of their players, I don't understand the last game of the year, bro. I just don't get that. They choose to sit down 19 of their men. Of course, your players out there, but you got Dak out there acting like he's Johnny Unitas. Okay, let's see what you do in the playoffs. That's what I want to see. Because that's what the Cowboys did. They play these weak teams, they run the score up and act like, they're doorbusters. And then this coming week, we'll really see what they're all about. But to me, at the end of the season, even Green Bay, you know where you're going to be slotted, Cowboys. Why are you trying to basically put daggers in the Eagles when you're already going to the playoffs? You got all your men out there. Zeke, you ain't running that well all year, bro. All year. But you wait then to kind of basically bust up. I like the Ravens, basically, even though they didn't make it, how they kind of fought all year, but in spite of what happened to them. That's a team that John Harbaugh has coached up very well. Give him credit. No matter who they put out there, they kind of find a way. And I'll go back to the Atlanta game, man. I just thought Atlanta being home, New Orleans doesn't have a quarterback, but what's the name showed up. The running back showed up, was like, you know what? I'm putting this team on my shoulder. We're going to get this done. When they went up by 14 points, I knew my chance to win a championship was over at that point. Like, I can't think about it.
Atlanta doesn't have any weapons. And so offensively, they just don't have any weapons. And Ice always talks about every week, Patterson's the running back. They have no weapon. And so I didn't expect them to, it wasn't going to be a shootout. And I would give the nod to New Orleans. But the game that really bothered me is, and I'm not a fan of the Colts, but how do you lose against a team that's lost 14 games in the season? How do you lose? How do you lose? How do you not show up when you get a chance? They say you have a small chance to make the playoffs and you don't play hard enough to get there. I just don't understand it. I really don't understand that. And that really kind of bothered me watching that particular game with the talent that the Indianapolis Colts have. And there's some talented teams that we're going to talk about as far as the coaching Black Monday that happened this Monday. There's some talented teams that you're looking at and you're going, how do you not make the playoffs when they expanded the field and they gave you 17 games to do it? How do you not do it? Black Monday, the Bears, the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Giants, the Broncos, Jaguars, Raiders, they're looking for new coaches. And I was a little scared, Black, that the Giants weren't going to pull the plug or pull the trigger on this coach, because everybody been screaming about this, even though throughout the whole season and even last season. And I was praying that Saquon Barkley wouldn't waste his career with the Giants if they would have brought this guy back.
Yeah, I'm amazed when it came down yesterday, Tuesday, that they let him go, because Monday they came out publicly said that they're gonna give him another year. He deserves another year. They don't want to keep firing coaches every 2 years. And I'm like, what does this man do to earn another year? And I'm saying to myself, have you paid attention to his press conferences? Have you really understood the light he's putting your organization under? And something must have happened in 24 hours because they decided to get rid of him and kind of move on. It's interesting, man, because I was looking at Zimmer, and I kind of felt Zimmer should have been gone a little while ago, because he's another coach to me that team has underachieved drastically. That team is way too talented. Then I looked at the contract, and I think the general manager went to Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. I think it went Spielman, if I'm not mistaken, he left. But looked at the contract that they did for Kirk Cousins. They renewed his contract. And this year, Kirk Cousins is earning $45 million. They can't trade him. They can't cut him. $45 million for Kirk Cousins? I mean, what type of weed was you smoking to get over that type of contract? $45 million for 1 year. This guy's done nothing. When I say nothing, you had his own receivers. Look at Diggs, how Diggs has flourished since he left Minnesota. He called him out. And it's amazing. Some of these decisions these general managers make are just unbelievable. And you and I was talking about this a little while ago, Paul. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the dumbass Jacksonville Jaguars, are thinking about hiring, what's the coach that Hope was at Houston?
O'Brien.
Yes. He's a top runner. Are you kidding me? I mean, how do you go pull him from Alabama? For what reason? Did you pay attention to what he did to the Texans? It's going to take them years to recover what he did to that team. Years. So realistically, don't think about getting any good free agents. Don't you bring them there. I'm going to tell you, people that look like me, they're not coming. I don't care what you offer them. They're not coming. If you saw what he did that receiver, you can't be much more of a nut to bring him in. I don't understand it. But then again, I guess I do. Because white men in the NFL always find a way to land on their feet. You know, I won't be long for Urban Meyer pops up somewhere. No matter how bad they do, I'm just saying what it is, bro. No matter how bad they do, how people forget. Let's not forget the man that left the NFL with his tail between his ass. You know what I'm talking about. You saw him on Monday night. He coached Alabama. He ran from the NFL. Not just kind of said, I'm done. No, ran mid-season, packed up and left. Look what he's done. So again, when it comes down to college football coaching, NFL coaching, you could be a white man and mess up. I heard a guy on TV said, "Yeah, Joe Judge, you get another job. Why should he? Why should he get another job there coaching? He should be banned from coaching. There should be a law written where he can't walk the sideline again. I'll be honest with you. But when you're white, they look at your first chance. Oh, you just made a mistake. They give you another shot. So here it is, Jacksonville. Do what you got to do. But I guarantee you will not be getting good free agents, and anybody that you draft will not stay there long. Good luck.
Ice, Nagy, it was, I thought it was 2 years too late to get rid of him, but they got both of him and the general manager early in the morning. When you get called to the office at 7 o'clock in the morning, you know it's nothing good. And so they have hired a whole nother consulting firm committee to come up with the next head coach. The Dolphins coach, the Django, our silent brother, who is one of our former hosts on the show, tried to kind of pull a race card on Flores. I'm like, no, Flores did not handle that job really well. And this was the year he was supposed to get in the playoffs. And when you have the New England Patriots jump over you to get in the playoffs, you were supposed to be that second team after Buffalo. All the talent. You've been talking about it for years with Miami and all the talent. Also, the Vikings coach, they were steps away, a play away from the Super Bowl and could not get that back. You got the Giants. I'm going to read off some of the under Joe Judge. There are 30 seconds in points per game, 32nd yards per game, 30 seconds play per game, and 30 seconds efficiency in the red zone. In his 2 years, it wasn't going to work out. The Broncos, you had that coach. He did not know what he was doing. He's defensive guru here in Chicago, had no clue how to run a football team. Got into some racial issues, a couple of years back. The Jaguars have no clue. I don't know. They're looking at O'Brien. And the Raiders, I think they got a coach with the Raiders. I would give him another year or two. The way he turned that situation around with all the things that was happening with the Raiders this season. Your thoughts on Black Monday, man?
Man, so much going on. You mentioned a lot of it. Amazing. I'm going to start with the Giants and Joe Judge. And you hit it earlier. I've been watching it off and on. I heard you guys talk about they need to get rid of the coach and general manager, all this stuff. But when I watched that play, bro, as you said, second quarter.
3rd and 9.
3rd and 9 on their own 4-yard line. Your own 4. And you run a quarterback sneak. The response of the fans, you could do one fan that was banging on the side of the building, screaming like, "What the are you doing, bro? Get out of here!" I was like, "Wow!" So that play alone got him fired.
You practiced all week. You practiced all week for a quarterback sneak,
dude. 3rd and 9, and you on your 4-yard line. You might as well take a safety. What the hell? That's how bad it was. That's what got him fired. So you said they waited. They went back and looked at that replay, and they like, he got to go. We've been catching hell. People talking about they not buying season tickets no more. They mad as hell. So when I saw that play, I was like, yeah, you had to go. I'm gonna jump on the Dolphins real quick, man. Yeah, I said that I thought they were making moves, they were ready to go. And I understand them not making the playoffs, but they won what, 8 or 9 straight?
Yeah.
8 or 9 straight. I know they should have got over the hump, but there was a lot of stuff going on with Tua. Tua wasn't right because he thought Deshaun Watson was coming. It's a lot of crap. And I think Flores, for the most part, did a pretty decent job. I just think so. I'm not going to throw the race card in it. But then when I went back and looked at it, I said, okay, well, here's my problem with the firing is this. The Miami Dolphins have had 10 head coaches in their history, okay? 10. Only 3 of those 10 individuals had winning records, right? And the winning record, the 3 men were Don Shula, amazingly, Dave Wannstedt, and Jimmy Johnson. They're the only 3 guys that had winning records. Other than that, it's chaos. Year here, 2 years, everybody out. So my point of it is, you got Flores moving along like that too. And why don't you give him at least a chance to come together with a complete damn team? Right? I still think they need wide receivers. They need some other things. But he won 8, 9 straight games. And you kick him out? I was like, man, I was turning around and trying to understand that. But the one thing is, he probably going to get picked up somewhere else real quick, because I think he still has the ability to make some things happen down there in Miami, though it's messed up. Chicago, man, Nagy, it was time. He knew it was over. They got to come up with something. Whatever Chicago does, y'all need to get this right, man. You need to get this right. You need to get a decent general manager, and you need to get a dynamite coach. Because y'all said y'all wanted a quarterback. You got one. You need some wide receivers. You need a running back. Everybody know that now. So now we get to do over. So Chicago, quit whining, quit crying, make the right call. You got some pieces to play with. You need to build it up. The other part too, I was looking at something else where when you look at Denver, and you talk about the Raiders keep the same coach. Denver may have a little something going on. I know we talk about Denver may not be right, but one thing Denver has is a couple things. They have a bunch of money in cap space available, right? $43 million in cap space, which means they can bring some people in. Almost $50 million in cap space. Plus, they have 11 draft picks for next year's draft. 5 of those in the top 100. So Denver has a little something they can play with, try to get some things, maybe entice some people, bring some veterans in. They could do something there, but they have to make sure that things are going to work for them as well. And I'm gonna throw one other little caveat out there, and I'm not trying to get nobody's job. I'm not trying to get nobody fired. But Houston, I got nothing but love for Dave Culley, and I know they're still trying to figure it out. They signed him for 5 years, and now they're kind of decide whether or not they're gonna bring him back. I think he's an admirable man. Some things are stopgaps. Luke Fickell when he was at Ohio State. Some people are there just to kind of tread water. I think he's a nice man. Not sure about his coaching. Houston, we'll say this to you one time. You got a lot of stuff going on. So if you're trying to figure this out, you want to keep him, I think it's time to move on. Bring in Flores, man. You need a real coach, bro. Bring in Flores. And if you realize, and I know y'all this is a total crazy scheme, but I'm throwing it at you right now. Bring in Flores, and then you go, we still ain't got a quarterback. Let's get this stuff cleared up with Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson wanted to play for Flores. It's a little out there. Need to turn some things around, but you need to get back on track, bro. Or you can rehire Bill O'Brien. Anyway, it's not still cool. It is really sad, man, but
it is.
I really hope Chicago gets it together. Denver, for sure. Jacksonville is kind of like a lost case. It's kind of just out there. Miami, I mean, whatever. You don't want to win now, because when you have a guy that is winning, and granted he didn't go to the playoffs, but he's winning and he's close, and they were winning games, and you miss the playoff by a game, can't really be that mad at him. But it's a lot of drama, a lot of other things going on. But oh no! But I'm glad that some teams pulled the trigger because they needed to make change. There's a lot of stuff brewing for too long, and they finally pulled the trigger. Now the question is, what are you going to do to try to correct the situation?
Here's my thing with Flores. I don't agree with you on Flores because he came in bumbling. And we talked about this before the show about when Jay-Z met with Goodell and the players kneeling. And Miami, some of the players were like, get me out of here. This guy's blasting the Jay-Z music. And he came in, and then he wanted to come back, double back, and like, I'm from the hood. Such and such, try to get his ghetto pass back, and they revoked. Okay. And so the Deshaun Watson situation, he handled that wrong. The quarterback situation, he handled that wrong. Black mentioned earlier about the feud he's having with the general manager. So I don't think he's a good leader. I think he's maybe a good coordinator, but not a good leader. And so I thought this year for Miami, for all the moves they were making, because they were making moves at the same time Cleveland was making moves. Cleveland made it to the playoffs. Miami in 3 seasons have not made it to the playoffs under this guy. And this was playoffs or bust for him. And I think if he made the playoff, even if they lost the first game in the first round, he would have had his job. At least another year or two, he would have had his job. But, like I said, Django tried to hit me up with the race card, and I'm like, nah, bro. This was Miami's playoff or bust year, and he didn't get the job done. Now, any other time, if it's a brother he didn't get a fair shake, I'd be on that. But not this one. Not this one. He just didn't handle situations as a leader of that team really well, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. My point is, though, for all of that, I still think the general manager had a lot to do with it, man, because you still making the end decisions. I still think the quarterback situation was wrong. I like Tua. Lil Tua is cool. They need a leader, bro. That was clear. They need a leader. He was trying. He was hurt at the time. You have Brissett in there. It just wasn't working. You need a leader. All the moves, you need a leader at quarterback. They didn't get it done. Even if healthy, I don't know if Tua's going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So for Flores, yeah. But then at the same time, as a general manager, you had time to bring in a decent backup quarterback. You could have brought in Case Keenum from the Cleveland backup. I mean, hell, he win the ball games. That's all he do. Say what you want to, it ain't pretty. But when he played for Cleveland, that's why the whole thing with Baker Mayfield is crazy as hell. Baker Mayfield out there with one arm and one leg trying to throw a football. This dude coming off the bench, win. That's all. Right. At the end of the day, you just want to win games. So I'm looking more at the general manager and the owner down there in Miami. So I hope they do get it right, but we'll see.
All right, Black, you get the last word on this.
Yeah, I don't think it's a Black thing either, man. I think he kind of basically, in a sense, Wars welcome out. I don't think he's a bad coach, but I think he needs to learn. You don't have to be Belichick to be a head coach in this league, bro. And I know you trained under him, but you don't have to be him. I look at it too, even though they won 8 games, 3 years, bro, this team hasn't progressed. It hasn't. You have it from last year. And you said this early in the season, look at the coach. When they were losing those games, it's like that team is too talented. Young, too talented team. Where was the progression from last year? There was none. And we said this earlier. There's no way in that division the Patriots should be in the playoffs. There is none. Not in that division. This year, this is not the year the Patriots should be in the playoff. And you're sitting back watching them. Yeah, you beat them last game of the season. And I'm not sure if it's his choice, but he should know, and if you didn't learn this from Belichick, you should realize if you argue with the general manager and don't get along with him, he's still your boss, bro. Yeah. And the owner more than likely is going to side with him. He's going to side with him. So my point is, if you're challenging him and you're going head to head with him, that's not a fight you're probably not going. That's not a fight you're probably is not going to win. If that's what happened, guess what? The general manager's still home eating. You're all with a job, bro. So you got to learn sometimes to get along with some people just to kind of maintain what you have and to progress. And you haven't established enough clout to where you could be in disagreement with a general manager. This is your first head coaching job. You're going to be a head coach for 2 to 3 years. So who are you to bang you up against a general manager? If you don't like his decision, it's your job to take the groceries and cook them. As Bill Parr said, we should be able to get the groceries, but you haven't earned that right yet. So what you need to do is cook the groceries. Even though he may get you bad groceries, it's your job as a coach to make those groceries taste good.
Season them up. Yeah, put that seasoning on it and
you gotta do.
Work.
You gotta do. It's your job, man. It's your job.
We have a new national champion. I thought it was going to be Alabama, but Georgia pulled it out finally, them dogs. And Uga was there falling asleep. And I thought in the fourth quarter, it was kind of a defensive battle up into the fourth quarter, Ice. I know Black said he's going to watch the tape on this. But I thought one of the things that Georgia did that they didn't do in the SEC championship game, and I think I texted you this, they played a cover 2 man and cover 2 zone all night. They came out of it a little bit, and that's when they got in trouble because Young is very savvy. And what Young was doing and the offensive coordinator of the Alabama Crimson Tide was doing was throwing those wide receiver screens to try to get the safeties to come up, and they wouldn't bite up. And so Georgia made a concerted effort. We're not going to get beat deep and let the game get out of hand like it did in the SEC championship. And this kid carved us up. And so I thought when Williams also got hurt for Alabama, I thought that hurt them tremendously. I think he's out with an ACL.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I appreciated Coach Saban saying after the game, because they had him mic'd up after the game, he said, hey, man, you guys dominated the fourth quarter. And the Georgia coach was like, hey, man, how is Williams? Yeah. And, how's this guy? And he said, hey, he's out with an ACL. And I'm like, wow, it kind of hurt my heart. Even though Georgia got the win, it was like, wow, this guy who was I think, projected to go 6th in the first round, will be out with an ACL. Your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, I told you I wasn't gonna watch it, then I got sucked in.
Black said he wasn't gonna watch it either.
I wasn't watching, then it was like 6-3, 9-6. I'm like, and I started watching it. But you're absolutely right. And I kind of felt like the Georgia defense was going to rise up, right? They came off of a good win over Michigan, felt real good, and they felt like they could play with Alabama. And I agree with you 100%. But the one thing, though, you got to talk about, and I said it from the beginning, the only way they was going to win that game, they had to throw the ball, bro.
Yeah.
Stetson Bennett had to throw the rock, and he threw the rock. And at first he was a little shaky, playing like, it was like when the Cincinnati quarterback was trying to throw the ball, they was tipping the ball and everything. And then after a while, it was like, you know what? The only way we're going to win this is you're going to make it happen. So you think about it from this standpoint. Georgia in that game had 30 yards rushing, bro. 30. Yeah. Hear that, 30. Bennett threw for 369 yards, bro. 369. That's the only way you're going to beat them. They were shutting down the run the same way Georgia was early on. And they were like, Alabama's defense was shutting the run down. So Georgia had to throw the ball. Same way when they played Michigan, they used to kind of, they passed a little bit more than run normally, but they had to really do well. And then against Michigan, Bennett threw for 313 yards and 3 touchdowns. So they had to throw the ball because it was like, you're not going to beat us this way running the ball. We will outrun you, and that's what they did. So kudos to them. Sad that James Williams went out with the ACL, and that was the open door. And I know you don't want people to get hurt, but if you Georgia, I heard him on the sideline over a couple mics going, one's out, he's not coming back. Then you just got to jump on him, bro. And there it's like a wounded animal. You just got to go ahead and put him down because the standpoint of they should win the game at that point. They should win the game, and they did it. But it was a little bittersweet because people were like, "Well, is that like an asterisk for Alabama?" You know what I'm saying? Because people were like, "Did they really beat Alabama?" But you got to give kudos to Georgia because they've been working a long time, and Kirby Smart been trying to get that forever, and he finally got it. So they won fair and square. Kudos to them, and Georgia won.
Georgia, Bennett was very efficient with. He had 26 passes. He hit on 17 of them, 2 touchdowns. Young was just, when you throwing the ball over 50 times, he threw for 50 times and hit on 35 of them. Had 2 interceptions. The pick 6 at the end of the game. Z White had 13 attempts and 84 yards in rushing for Georgia. Jay Cook had 6 rushes for 77 yards. So they were pounding ground on Alabama, and you just see it towards the end of the game. They just kind of bust Alabama wide open and was able to run, pass, do whatever they wanted to because they just had them tired. Number 99, Black, he was very active in this game. He was he must have had an extra tank on him because he was very active in this game and he was disruptive. They were putting the pressure on Young. When you see the game, they were putting the pressure on Young. But I know you heard about the game. What are some of the things that kind of stood out from highlights and all that other stuff?
I didn't watch the highlights because I want to kind of watch the game. And I had a chance to watch a little bit of it today. I want to go back and watch it, watch it entirely. But when I saw the score, man, and I saw that Georgia won, I was surprised. I was surprised for a couple of reasons because I always kind of felt like Nick Saban was in Kirby Smart's head. And I kind of felt like Kirby kind of went up against him. He kind of like favored Nick a little bit, maybe not kind of really look at him. You know what? He wanted to win, but I don't think he kind of put it all in. Maybe this time he did because I didn't think Georgia had a chance. I thought Alabama kind of probably run him off the field again. That's the reason why I chose not to watch it. And then when you text me, it was 9-6. I was like, yeah, I made the right decision, bro. I made the right decision. And I'm happy for Georgia. I'm happy in a sense anytime that we get a new champion and take away some of the dominance of Alabama. Nothing taken away from Alabama, but that dominance at some point, it doesn't bring you to the TV, at least not for me. So I'm happy that Georgia stepped up and other schools can have an opportunity to hoist the trophy other than Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama and Nick Saban are 2 championships away from the all-time record of a school winning championship. Guess who that school is, Black or Ice?
Who's that?
Yale University with 18.
Wow.
Yeah, you had to pull that out of the archives.
That Four Brothers could play. Anyway.
Yeah, that was Four Brothers Can Play.
Just kidding. Not like I knew that, but I'm just, I was curious.
Good guess. Let's go to college basketball. Baylor goes down. USC goes down. And Ice, you said this last week that Baylor needed to have a loss. And I think they learned a lot from this loss, that once they hit teams in the mouth, some teams are going to come back, wipe the blood off, and going to come back at them harder. And they learned that last night, I think, against Texas Tech. They do play Saturday against Oklahoma State. That's not going to be an easy game. Gonzaga jumps up to the number 2 spot, followed by UCLA. Auburn, if you haven't seen Auburn, that's a team to watch in the SEC. They are balling at this particular time. They took down a undefeated LSU team, and they're taking down teams in the SEC and teams that are ranked. Of course, we mentioned USC, they're ranked number 5 now. Arizona, Purdue, Duke dropped down 6 spots. Kansas dropped down 3 spots. Michigan State is holding at 10, followed by Houston, LSU, Wisconsin, Villanova, Iowa State, Ohio State, Xavier, Kentucky, Texas Tech, and Seton Hall. Your eye test, Ice.
Yeah, a little crazy this week. A lot of the top teams, really the last couple of undefeated teams got beat. We did watch that Baylor Texas Tech game last night, and man, they was going at it. They were going at it. And Baylor is a very good team. They're a lot better than I thought, but Texas Tech even had a starter out yesterday, and they still won. But there's a player of the year moment. Play of the year moment that happened in that game in the second half where Baylor was trying to come back and one of their players did a spin move in the lane and punch dunked on the guy. I was like, man, that was amazing. But I want to see the rematch though, because this time they're going to play in Texas Tech, and I think Baylor will be ready for them. Stanford upsets USC. That was impressive. And I'm trying to look at another game too, was Rutgers got beat by Penn State. Rutgers has an issue right now. I mean, they play pretty good basketball with Ron Harper Jr., but they have not won on the road yet. I think that's one of the major things. They got opportunity to win on the road. I think they play Minnesota or a team they should beat, but they play on the road. And it's going to be interesting to see what that happens. A couple major games, like you mentioned, the next game coming up for Baylor should be interesting. And then tomorrow, on Thursday, it's going to be Ohio State at Wisconsin. Yeah, they just come off that tough loss at Indiana, and now you got to go to Wisconsin. Going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. So again, wide open, top-notch teams dropped. So it's wide open. So I had no magical things for you this week, Blackboard. No hidden gems.
There's another team you mentioned who are not ranked, Indiana. They play tough.
Yeah, you don't want to play.
Has them playing tough.
You don't want to play them and I'm not trying to be funny by no color, but it just happens to be what it is. You don't want to play them in the tough, big, strong, light-skinned bros. I don't know where he got this. It's like, why you got all these light-skinned dudes on the team? But it's just like Al B. Shore. It's like, we know it's an Al B. Shore squad.
All right, Black, I know you ain't watching, but you want to say something for the college basketball?
No, man, I spent my eyes, man, for the past couple of weeks now that we're kind of slow down a little bit. I kind of put my monoculars on and see what I can find now.
Yeah, because Auburn beat Alabama last night. Alabama's a good, strong team, and they were able to knock them off last night. I like Alabama. I like Oklahoma, but you got teams like Auburn, Kentucky. They got another big O in Kentucky who is playing like a beast in Kentucky. He's not the big O like Oscar, but I'm calling him the big O. That brother, he gave Vanderbilt all they could handle last night. And Scottie Pippen's son, they couldn't do nothing with him. I'm wondering what the coach of Vanderbilt is going to do to kind of turn this season around. Because he has some studs down there, but they can't mess with the upper echelon of the SEC at this particular point. So stay tuned to Kentucky. They have a game on Saturday against Tennessee. Also, Seton Hall, they're going to be playing DePaul again. I think that's the second game they're going to play them in the last couple of weeks. Texas, Shaka Smart left a lot in the cupboards in Texas. So Jones is just balling down there also. And Illinois jumps into top 25. They are 25 with a 12 3 record with the big fella down there, who they are using him exactly the way they should be using him. And it should be a good, you thought it was going to be a fall off in college sports after the national championship game, but the very next day, college basketball was like, okay, we got it from here. And they started balling.
Can I throw one other thing in there?
Of course.
Real quick, the Big 12 is very competitive, man. You want to see some real good basketball, check out the Big 12 action. Like we just said, Baylor versus Texas Tech. It's going to keep going with all of that, Kansas. But you mentioned Auburn, and I'm going to say this allegedly. Auburn is playing strongly, but Auburn now reminds me of the Kansas of the South. You know, you always look at them, they're in trouble with some issues because now Auburn has some allegations against them that tear their program up as far as being put out for a while for the tournament or something. So the question is, when is this hammer going to fall? When is that axe going to fall? You know, when you look at Kansas, it always happens a year later and they get over it. Bruce Pearl has been in issues before and he's back at it again. So they win and they play good ball. But you got to say, damn, when they going to pull pull the carpet off from the bottom of them going, well, guess what, fellas? You are not eligible for the conference tournament and you're not eligible for the NCAA tournament because your coach, once again, for the second time that he's been at a different school, has cheated all the way he can, allegedly, but he's done everything he can to try to win ball games. And that's not accepted here in the NCAA. It'll be interesting to see what happens. So keep an eye on that, please.
I think they'll go after Bruce Pearl before they go after Self. Because
clearly,
they're waiting for Bruce Pearl.
Self is cemented. Self got people in high places. You know, allegedly he does. He has people in high places. But when you look at Pearl is like when he was at Tennessee, it was always something that he just fell out and then he disappeared. And all of a sudden he was. And the new coach of the Auburn Tigers, here he is. Hi guys, he's back, and now he's back at it. I mean, I'm just wondering, allegedly, you got people complaining. What's going to happen when they go down to Florida State? Because you got Leonard Hamilton down there complaining that he don't know the rules no more. He don't know how things are. But you're the only man in America, allegedly, that can find the only 3 7-footers in America. And all of a sudden now you worry about the NIL. Come on, you talking about it ain't fair no more. Kids is leaving, they don't want to stay. Yeah, you might want to change the game. But anyway, allegedly, all this is my speculation. I'll leave that right there. I don't want nobody coming for me. I ain't got no money.
Let's go to the NBA. Phoenix is at the top of the conference over Golden State by 1 game in the Western Conference, followed by Utah and Memphis. Everybody's talking about Memphis and their run lately. Dallas, Denver, the Lakers dropped to 7 with the LA Clippers, who are just hovering around number 8, and the Minnesota Timberwolves around number 9, 1 game behind the Clippers. And in the East, you got the Chicago Bulls. They're playing really well. Can't knock them. Followed by 2.5 games over Brooklyn. You have Miami, Milwaukee dropped to 4. Philly still hanging in there at 5. Cleveland at 6. You got Charlotte at 7 and Toronto at 8. Black, give me your eye test of the NBA, bro.
I'll tell you something. I think we all kind of sleep with the Memphis Grizzlies. And I kind of believe that they can make a deep run into the playoffs. I don't trust Utah. I don't trust Denver. So when it comes to the West, I believe that they can bump up against the Warriors or they can bump up against the Suns. Philly's kind of doing this thing, what's the name of Embiid still is out there playing, but looking at Milwaukee, I think everybody's looking at the Nets, Irving playing, whatever the case may be. Milwaukee's just going about their business saying, we'll see y'all when the playoff time come, bro. Because they're playing some basketball, man. Milwaukee's playing some serious basketball. They took out the Nets the other night, but they're playing some ball. They're playing some ball. So I'm not buying like everybody else is buying the hype with the Brooklyn Nets. Look at the teams just basically grinding, getting it done. And even if their record doesn't show, when you watch them play, you can tell by their schemes, they're going to be ready.
Yeah, I look at Memphis, and I appreciate what they're doing and give them kudos for what they're doing. But I'm thinking, should you have a run like this before the All-Star break or after the All-Star break? Because we've seen this before with Golden State when they had the best record and they were making this run and they couldn't finish. They couldn't get to the championship. And usually what happens is in the second half of the season, Ice, is that other teams start figuring out what you're doing. and then it make it harder for you to start winning games. And then can you beat a team in the series? You can beat them in the regular season, but can you beat them in the 7-game series? And like I said, I'm not taking anything away from Memphis. They are balling. They got a great mixture of veterans and young players that are not afraid of anybody. They even talking about Morant for MVP. I don't think that's. I think that's too premature. If I had a vote, I would give it to LeBron at this particular point. But give me your eye test of the NBA season so far.
Let's start there with Memphis. I'm not sure if it's too early for them to make this run, but as you said, when you think about it, they're 10-0 in their last 10 games. So, but let's look at who they beat. They beat Golden State, Utah. They beat Golden State, Utah, and they also beat Phoenix. They beat the Lakers twice, San Antonio, Brooklyn, and Cleveland. So 10-0, man. I mean, that's a lot of the heavy hitters. So I don't know how far they're gonna go. I just wonder if Morant can carry him that long. He's been playing his butt off. But I like Chicago. I'm looking at some of these matches. I would like to see up in the middle where you said, I think you said even in the West too, where you could see like a team playing the Lakers in the first round, or somebody having to test these other teams. I like Chicago. One thing I find interesting about the NBA too is things happen. I'm not saying they're gonna make any moves, but I think coming up at the end of the year or next year, Chicago has a couple of players that are free agents. So there's a lot of free agency going on. There's a lot of free agency. The guys are going to be free agents next year. So I want to see what moves are made before this trade deadline. So that's the main thing. But what can you say? It's really up and down with this. I don't think there's any clear-cut team that is standing out. I like Chicago. And even though you may not like them or whatever, but you got to look at teams are mad at one another and guys really want to play. You look at the standpoint of even with the Washington Wizards, they fighting almost going into halftime. They got two guys fighting with Contavious Caldwell Pope and Montrezl Harrell. Almost got into a fight right before halftime during the game because he said he wasn't playing the ball. He's wide open. So, the Misfit Toys Island is over there going crazy as hell. So they were trying to figure it out. So that's a good thing though, because usually when guys are fighting like that means they're trying to win.
They care.
You don't really fight because unless I slept with your girl or something like that too. I like the Lakers allegedly, but there's something like that. So usually they care, so that's why they're fighting, and they usually make up a la Durant and Green. So we'll see, but it's wide open, kind of like college basketball. Never know what's gonna happen, but I like it.
So Black, I mentioned MVP. Who would you give the MVP to right now if you had it?
I wouldn't give it to LeBron. I think it's too early to kind of really say. LeBron to me is kind of gunning for it. He's kind of realized this team is not where it needs to be. So he's kind of making it about him, and he's basically scoring. I didn't even think when they was talking Stephen Curry was basically should be it. To me, if anyone is going to probably take it right now, I got to go back to the Joker, bro. I got to go back to him, man. This cat's knocking down an average of 18 rebounds a game. He's getting it done without much help. He's like what he was last year. So to me, if you're going to give it to someone, you're going to have to dethrone what he's doing. LeBron, we've seen this show before, bro. 17 years, we've seen this show before. I'll gun and get mines and we'll lose. Early part of his career is in Cleveland. But the Joker is consistent, bro. I'm not saying he elevated from last year, but he's getting it done, bro. On a team without a lot of help. You watch him play, I don't think since Tim Duncan, he's a little more, in a way, sometimes a little more savvier than Tim Duncan at times. But to me, he kind of reminds me of Tim Duncan. I don't think there's been a player since Duncan that size to do what he does, bro. But his size, what he gets done, right now, he's the MVP.
Yeah, the reason why I said LeBron is because he's not getting too much from the supporting cast, and he developed it. He put it together. I admit that. But I think if he wasn't averaging, like he went on a run where he's averaging over 30 points a game, they'd be 10th in that conference if it wasn't for LeBron kind of bailing them out in certain games. So if it wasn't for that, they're ranked number 7 now in the West. They wouldn't be that high if he hadn't been putting a yeoman's effort. He's been playing power forward, been playing center, been playing small. He's been playing every position, trying to keep that team afloat to get into the playoffs. Ice, who's your MVP?
Yeah, I like John Morant, but you know, he kind of does it all the time. So they got guys playing with him. Um, I like, of course, I always like Steph Curry because I like what he's doing, but now he's getting a lot of help. But I'm gonna throw you for a loop. I don't know if he's the MVP, but damn it, he's very important to his team. I love Zach LaVine, I do, but my MVP right now, because dude is stepping up and he's been in the background for a long time, and now he gets an opportunity. That's DeMar DeRozan, bro.
Yeah, I can agree with
DeRozan balling. If I say MVP, the shots he's taking, the way he's helping guys get better. Because I'm gonna tell you something, Zach LaVine is a monster and gets even more dangerous when he plays with people around him that are pretty much good, as good as he is, or even better. And he's made that guy in that group together collectively well. And he comes from a team with San Antonio where he was the guy kind of looked better at the time, but he's in the background. He really wasn't a superstar, but he's kind of coming of age, man. I think this is perfect timing. So I'm gonna throw a wild card in there. You know, it's not the Joker anyway, but I'm gonna throw a wild card in there and roll with DeMar DeRozan.
Questions from the squad. Black, first question.
As we find 7 head coaching vacancies in NFL, are we going to pay attention to how many African Americans may get a decent shot at these opportunities?
Ice?
I don't think so, man. I don't. I mean, I know we run with it all the time. You have not heard Notice you have not heard Eric Bieniemy's name whatsoever.
Nope.
Never, none of these things. You ain't even heard a whisper that they're bringing him in. They're bringing in everybody else. Caldwell, was it Leslie Frazier? Hell, I can name about 19 in my, whoever's running. But not once have you heard Eric Bieniemy. So I don't think that it's going to be an issue. They're not going to bring it up simply because what was the team we were talking about a couple weeks ago that they said we getting rid of Rooney Rule restrict issues right out the way immediately. So they first thing they called was 4 African American coaches, knowing you're not going to bring their ass in for those second interviews. It's like, and him. Y'all, you guys come on in. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be. I think they're going to go. There should be enough room. But even if no African American coaches get it, I don't think they're going to make a big deal out of it. I really don't.
No, I would hope they would, but I'm not going to kind of beat the same drum we do every year when there's a coaching vacancy. I just want to see what teams do. Teams need to prove right now, these teams that need head coaching, that they're really serious about winning in the NFL, not only to themselves, to their players, but to their fans and to the NFL football, because a lot of crazy stuff happened this year that should have never happened, and it was due to bad coaching decisions, bad moves by the NFL. And so if I was an owner, I'm looking at how New England, who was dead in the water for a couple of years, and all of a sudden they're back in the playoffs. Looking at teams like the Indianapolis Colts, who had bad decision after bad decision with a talented team and could not muster enough wins to get to a playoff. So these teams who were left out, you have to be. But one of the things that I when I look at coaching, teams need to really kind of ask, is this a coach that can get us to the Super Bowl? So if you entertaining anybody else that cannot get you to the Super Bowl, who's going to make your team better, who's going to put your players and the team in the best positions to win, you shouldn't be talking to just any Joe Blow that's coming off, offensive coordinator position, defensive coordinator position. Can this guy get me to the promised land and make the players that I have or the players they bring in, put them in the best position to win so we can win a championship? I know every team's not going to win a championship, but can this coach put our team in the best position so we can get close or get to the promised land? And I don't think you look at what they're doing. I don't think teams are doing that. I don't think owners are really kind of making those decisions. I know you, we're good buddies. I know you from a friend. I know you this, that, the other. Yeah, coach my team. And then, you got fans who, like the Giants fans, saying, we're not coming back, and here's your Pepsi back because we ain't drinking that either. Black?
I like the fans saying that to the Giants. And I think that's part of the reason why Dutch got fired. Realistically, I don't think so, bro. I don't think so. I think it's going to quietly get skirted around. We see what Jacksonville did. To me, last year when Jacksonville talked to none and hired Urban Myers, that was a fine time NFL step up and do something. They said nothing. There was no comment. There was nothing. And that said to me they're not serious about it. You know, they'll wait till you get over. They'll talk about they're going to make some changes, and you know, maybe one guy might get a job, and then say they're going to do things to improve. But overall, it's not their agenda. It's not. It really isn't. And I've said this many times before. Until the NFL players stand at a microphone and constantly beat that drum, it's not going to change. It's not going to change. They have to realize the talent that they have, not the talent that they have, the strength that they have. When they use it and basically execute it the right way, they can get a lot done in the NFL. But you know, they're more concerned about their stats, their brand, everything else. So we'll see.
All right, Ice, your question.
Yeah, my question is: do you think that the schools and the coaches in college sports, particularly football and basketball, feel like they're losing the grip on their programs with like players and stuff with the NIL? And I say that because guys are making deals, and a lot of times in these certain schools in the state, the schools can't do anything with what's happening with these deals. They have no control whatsoever. So they kind of at the mercy of what's going on. So you think that they feel like they're losing grip, even include the NCAA, they're losing the grip that they had on the athletes.
Black?
Well, absolutely, man. I mean, a college kid now has many more options, and that scares them. Before, there was only one option. That was it. You go here, you shut your mouth, you take this little scholarship, and you wish for the best. But now these young men and young women have options, and some of these programs are scared because they don't have to come to you anymore. And more options are going to pop up. So absolutely, man, they're feeling the crunch, they're feeling the pressure at all. And, you know, it's just a matter of time before it gets bigger and gets stronger. But yeah, without a doubt, man, when you have HBUs taking players that could have went to other schools, oh yeah, come on, bro. I mean, you don't think that's in the back of their mind too? I might lose a player. Oh yeah, it's coming.
I think for the elite programs, not so much yet. You haven't been hearing them kind of complain a little bit yet. But for the programs under that who are trying to get to that elite status, I think, yeah, it's hitting them hard at this particular point. But I think it's like in a year in. I want to see 5 years, 10 years down the road, how much impact it's going to have on not only the teams that are not elite, but the elite teams who are going after the top recruits and all of a sudden not getting them because of the a la Coach Prime and all of the HBCUs. It seems like there's a trend of the HBCU players going to play there because they're going to get playing time. They're going to get exposure, probably more so than the elite programs. Your thoughts, Tice?
Yeah, it's weird because you look at situations where I think that these schools are literally scared. Like I mentioned earlier about Leonard Hamilton, that the state of Florida has put in legislation that says that no colleges or universities can have any parts or any handle in any of these NIL negotiations or anything. Wow. They cannot touch it. So Leonard Hamilton's like, well, damn, I can't give out no free ices no more. What the hell? Anyway, but I think a lot of people feel like hands are tied. Also, too, look at the example how bizarre this is. With the quarterback Caleb Williams from Oklahoma, this thing about transferring. He literally got an offer. I don't know how real it was, but an offer from former NFL quarterback Charlie Batch from Eastern Michigan that said, I give you $1 million if you come to transfer to Eastern.
Wow.
$1 million. How the hell you do that? I mean, you probably got people that pay for it, but if I'm, oh boy, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to be like a free agent. I'm going to go there for a year. Get that $1 million, play for y'all, transfer to down there at Jackson State with Prime and get the rest of it.
Wow.
Options, baby. Options.
Yeah. Because he snagged two. He snagged two, blue chippers. Instead of going to the NFL picks, we're going to end the show before we go to our last second shots. End the show with the records. I know Ice gave them earlier. I want to give kudos to Ice and Black. It was a great season for their picks. Icewater came in first with a 178 and 93 record. We had one tie. All of us had one tie. Black Thor had a 176, 2 games behind Icewater, and 95 record. And Pop had a 73 and 98 record. And I went in triple digits with the losses this year with a 165 wins and 105 losses. And the percentages, the winning percentage for Ice is 65.4%. Black Thor 64.7%, Pop 63.6%, and me at 60.6%. Still better than your so-called experts out there picking these games. Ice, give you the floor again to talk about your winning. Since you got, I want you to notice the vintage Muhammad Ali robe that I tore. The Everlast robe. Now I've seen this robe before, and take it away, man.
You know what? I'm gonna just say this, man. This is always fun, brother, and it's very competitive. You don't know how many people that watch our show or people that are in my family. They go, "What you doing? Like, what your record like? How you doing?" And I was like, "Well, you know, I'm doing okay." And then they asked me, "What about that Black Thor? What are you doing?" Because he always talks. He said, "Wait, you had a Black Thor?" I was like, "I don't know it this week," but what's really bizarre is when you think about it real quick is, you know, we always come out and Black Thor always jump out in the front. I looked at the stand, went back and looked. I was like, Black Thor, first 2 weeks, first 3 weeks, Black Thor was in first place. Talk about, see. Then week 4, it changed. I got in first place, and then I dropped back because Pop jumped up. And then it got to a point where we was going back and forth. And then for like 7 weeks in a row, I was in first place again for 7 weeks. And then it bounced back until it got to a point where I was pretty good. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I told you from the beginning, no trophies given out in week 1. No trophies given out in week 1. But also, too, is a hell of a competition. But you also got to be consistent. Little boys and little girls, stay consistent. Stay the course. Don't quit. Don't give up, because you possibly could be a champion. Even time a 2-time champion. Hang in there, baby.
Yeah. One of my good buddies, I call the Big Carmelo. Sorry I disappointed you this year. You sent me a card saying I lost so much money this year betting with you. I'll try to make it up to you next year. Or
look. Call me, bro. Call me. I got you. You serving drinks too. Call me.
Black Thor, runner up.
Congratulations, Ice, man. I it does my heart good, man. Hear people saying to him, "What's Black? What?" That right there, man. I love that right there, because as we get together, man, it's good that people basically can identify what we do, and at the same time, the percentages are what they are, bro. They are what they are, and we're competing. We're out here, and folks that are basically, they should be doing better than us aren't. So that speaks volumes, man. Speaks volumes within itself. Next year is not too far away. I'll be coming back. And if you notice, I haven't even did my theme song yet, man. I'll save that for next year.
Oh, you got theme music?
Oh, my theme song, Black Thor coming. I've done that in a while, baby.
I gotta put that to a drum beat. I gotta put that to a drum beat or something, a bass line or something. I gotta do that. It's always great. Catch you next year on the NFL picks. Our next show that's coming up right in after this one is the fight game, but we wanted to go out. I ain't gonna put the soft drink I have there because they don't pay us, and they don't sponsor us. So I ain't gonna put it up there. But salute to you, sir. It was going down to the wire, and Black did his best to let me know that I screwed up the numbers, and I didn't screw up the numbers. Still trying to get in my head about my gazentas and and this subtraction.
Can I say one thing? We are not advocating drinking, no. If you're not of age, do not drink. If you're of age, do it cautiously. It's not for everybody. Everybody can't handle it. Don't do it. Damn it, it's not good for you. Don't do it. But I'm a grown man, and I still get things done even though I drink. Isn't that amazing?
Black, last second shot.
Woo. Hey, man, it's a new year. Do the best you can, make it the best. Don't look in the past, look forward. Get it done. Keep the grinding real, keep it strong. Let's keep moving.
All right. Ice, Black, last second shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna say thanks for everybody that participates, and just pay attention, man, because we try to do this well, try to bring it to you guys. But again, as Black Thor said, it's a brand new year. Know that you're loved, man. Know that you're blessed. Somebody does care. I don't give a damn who you are. Somebody cares. You may not think it because you bad relationship, whatever situation. I'm not the love doctor, but I'm just telling you, know that somebody gives a damn about you, man. And if you need help, let somebody know, because somebody cares, bro. Real talk.
This weekend on Saturday, I had an opportunity to go to Milwaukee to help some of the students from Tibet and from Hong Kong to protest the Olympic trials and letting athletes know that we don't oppose you going to compete. We just want you to know what's going on over in China. Got to meet some of the reporters that I will try to get them on the show after the Olympics is over, because I don't want them to get in trouble saying something here and then getting trapped over in China. So stay tuned for some of the stories and some of the reporters that will come and we'll interview live about their experience in China, and we'll keep you up to date with that. So we will check you out later. Stay tuned. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace. Welcome to the Fight Game with Icewater and Puma. And if you didn't see the part of the show, the first part of the show, Icewater won the NFL picks, 18 weeks of hard work. And he finally got the #1 prize. Well, we're going to talk the Fight Game here. And I want to talk boxing first, because I was going through Twitter yesterday and everybody was kind of, chirping about Canelo finally, it's not set, but finally considering fighting a Charlo. And people going back and forth, like finally he's going to fight somebody, that could take him. And you had the Canelo fans are saying, hey, this guy, they've been saying he's been ducking him all this time. Now we're going to find out. Have you heard any other news about this fight happening this year?
Yeah, what they're saying is the fact that Jermail Charlo actually has been sent a contract by Canelo. A lot of people thought he would go fight Triple G for the third time. Thought he would move up to cruiserweight, take that fight. But I think this is a fight one. I think because of the last Charlo fight, when he kind of struggled a little bit, he was really competed. Somebody, came for him. They think that it's a fight that Canelo can win. And I really think that's how they're looking at it too. They know too that it's probably more of a money maker because people want to see one of the Charlos in there. And what better way than to do this than on Cinco de Mayo, which is now Canelo's weekend. Used to be Mayweather weekend, but now it's Canelo's weekend. So he's heard all kind of criticism, but him clearing out the 168 division within a calendar year, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, that's too damn easy. So he's like, well, I'm gonna give you guys a treat, and I'll fight Charlo. So the question is whether or not Charlo wants it, talking about what is the purse bid going to be, and Charlo's trying to remain cool about it and like, well, we'll look over the proposal and see. But it's a fight that I think he almost has to take because you've been calling for Canelo. We called for him at 154, called him for him at 160. And granted, even if he wants you to fight you at 168, he's big enough to do it. You got to take the fight. If you really are about the business and trying to prove how good he is, how great he can be, you got to take the fight. So right now they're saying they're shooting for Cinco de Mayo weekend, which is like, I think, May 6th or 7th, some that weekend, because Cinco de Mayo is that on the 5th. But that weekend, the second weekend in May for Charlo versus Canelo.
Yeah, that would be May 7th, which is a Saturday. It falls on this year.
You coming, Puma? You coming out?
Hey, it depends on Rona.
Besides Rona, if Rona's okay, you coming out, Puma?
I want to come out. I want to get my business straight here, so I can go out and relax and see a fight and go to Vegas for the very first time in my life. We've been pushing it off because of this Rona. Anyway, let's talk MMA. You have Masvidal and Covington. These used to be friends. Now they're going at it. It's a grudge match. What do you think about this fight?
Solid fight. Both guys are kind of coming off of setbacks in their careers, right? Think about Covington when his last loss, I think, was Usman. He lost Usman.
Both of them were Usman.
Masvidal, right? Both of them Usman. So what better way? And it builds a great drama for these two guys. Both of them lost to Usman. So it's like, okay, you talking your stuff, I think I'm better than you, and let's get in the ring. So I think it can be a great build up, and then maybe the winner will come back with maybe a shot, maybe not again at Usman, because I think he's taking care of that business, but maybe against some other high caliber talent, because it's still out there. And Dana White always likes a good fight, but he also likes a lot of drama to be fulfilled around his fights because it brings in more eyes to the pay-per-view. So I think it'll be a good fight. It's something I would want to watch because, like I said, the last two guys that Usman put down, and Usman is the guy, Masvidal and Covington. Why not have them fight?
Okay. Any other boxing news or MMA news that we need to know about before we end this show?
Yeah, boxing news coming up again. You said I think it's January 22nd is Gary Russell Jr. versus Mark Mioso. Very interesting fight there. And I think a fight February 5th, Keith Thurman versus the return of Keith Thurman with Mario Barrios. Daniel Jacobs fights John Ryder across the seas, over the pond, February 12th. Very interesting fight there because of the factor that Daniel Jacobs is traveling way over to see whether or not, if he doesn't win by knockout, can he get a decision? One other fight is going to be, I think it's in March now, get moved back. It will be Jermail Charlo versus Brian Castano, the rematch. Very good fight early on. A lot of people thought Castano won that fight because he was able to rock Charlo a little bit for like the first time we've seen that. So that's going to be a hell of a rematch.
All right. Stay in tune. That's Icewater. I'm Puma. This is The Fight Game.